Hey y'all, on October 7th, Bungie released a new exotic mission, Heliostat, for Destiny 2 that contains the new exotic Axe Wolfsbane. This video is going to cover what it does, a simple guide on how to do the mission, and my general opinions on the mission and exotic. The exotic comes with the primary intrinsic perk called Resurgence Directive, which states light attacks generate sword energy and have the chance to spawn seeking Quicksilver nanites that heal the wielder upon attaching. The secondary intrinsic perk on the axe is Nano Assault, which states Quicksilver nanites that attach to the wielder charge the blade. Using your alternate weapon action, whatever you have it bound to, when fully charged to overclock the attached nanites, enhances the blade's offensive capabilities. Light attacks deal increased damage to targets, and a fully charged heavy attacks create a flaming Quicksilver Swarm-nado. This exotic is craftable, so it is reshapeable at the Enclave. The intrinsic upgrades do allow you to change the stats in a variety of ways. They also allow you to get different sword perks, new hilt perks, and new exotic specific perk called Subroutine Recursion, which states Quicksilver nanites grant more health the greater your stacks of Nano Assault are. Taking a damage while Nano Assault is active has the chance to generate nanites nearby. Here are some of the perks that you can get on the sword, or axe technically. These are going to be the retrofits that you have to get by doing one of the secrets in the mission. The additional blades, you have 2 different blade slots. This is like the first time you'll be able to do this. You have Tempered Edge, Hungry Edge, and then Jagged or Enduring. You have the handles for the first time, which is going to be Rampagers, Tenacious, or Unyielding Handle. All of them have the same thing, but just give different levels of damage resistance for a different amount of time in combat. This is the one trait you cannot remove or change. And then these are all of the catalyst sockets. You have Attrition Orbs, Relentless Strikes, Burning Ambition, and the Subroutine Recursion. Only one of these is available right now. This is done by doing one of the secrets, I think, in the mission. I will have a guide leaked down below on how to get the retrofits and how to get the one catalyst that you can get right now. I think it is on a weekly timer. So you'll only be able to get Attrition Orbs first, and then you have to get Relentless Strikes, Burning Ambition, and then Subroutine Recursion. Now I'm going to do a quick guide on how to do the mission itself. The mission is fairly simple. You're going to have some pretty persistent mechanics that are going to be all throughout the mission. One of them you're going to be immediately faced with is the Scion spawn like rally banners, where a Scion will spawn in, and then it's going to give you a invulnerable shield from these exploding like orbs that will give you radiation poisoning. Throughout the entire mission, you're going to be using those in the different sections and in the jumping puzzles, so you can't die. Once you pass that first section with the Scion bubble, you're basically just going to follow the most obvious path forward, and then you're going to get to the point where you have to start killing Minotaurs that will drop these Radioloria fields. Once you get up to a full bar of Radiolorial, it'll give you Radiolorial Saturation on the top. Then you have to go over to the wall that the Quicksilver Scion is going to walk to, and you have to hold your interact key to help them open the wall. That is pretty persistent throughout the entire mission. That's a very common mechanic, so get used to doing that. Once you get into the room that has the nuclear power looking boxes in the middle, you're going to have to then kill those Minotaurs over and over again up to 4 times. So then you can undo the barriers to the 4 security node rooms, minus the one that you shoot on the inside of the room you're already in. And once you break down all the security nodes, the floor will then open up, and then you get to move on to the first jumping puzzle section. Once you fall down through this hole, there's going to be an interactable little computer that could be facing forward or behind you. Once you find that computer, basically turn around and then face left, That left wall is going to be where the door that you will exit will be. It's on the very far back left. In this next room, it's going to be the same thing, a bunch of doors that can kill you. The very far top left door is going to be the door to progress. Alright, and then at the very end, if you go through this door and take a right, is going to be the door that you will be entering to progress through this section. You're going to jump across and then take a left, and then it is the second platform that would have a door on it is going to be your progression door. You're going to go down this little lip in the wall and then go take the obvious path forward. After that, the new mechanic is going to be introduced, which is going to be the Hacking Buddy Scion. You're going to see a symbol that is going to be reflected on the other monitor with the chair facing it, and then the circular symbol is going to be whatever the Scion's going to put in. And to do this part, you're going to go to the other side of this little section on the other side of the glass, and then you're going to put in the right code. So for example, this one was square, so I would put in square on the other monitor. Now the door is going to open and your Hacking Scion buddy is going to follow you in, and you're going to basically do the exact same thing. For example, this one had the arrows facing left, so the password would have been the arrows facing left. Now if you've heard anything about this mission, you'll probably recognize this part at least. There's going to be these little arc things you have to shoot while you are falling down this spot where the door opens. And as you are falling down, you have to shoot them, or if you touch the arc, you will die. After this, you're going to hit the central observation point. This is going to be essentially a rehash of the same mechanic you just did, except you're going to have to do it 3 separate times, and the codes aren't going to be easily as visible. These are going to be the codes that you need to put in, and it's obviously going to be in order from left to right. So an example for my run, it was X, left arrow, and then the diamond. So I had to go put in X first, left arrow, and then diamond. And all of the codes will be spread out in between these 3 rooms, the security code fragments that you'll be putting in. So once you put in all 3, you're going to deal with some enemies, and then the next jumping puzzle will start. You're going to get some dialogue, and then you're going to get on this lift. The lift is going to take you up, and you're going to be using the Scion bubble mechanic again to try and get over all of this jumping puzzle. This jumping puzzle can essentially be done for the most part in whatever way you want. I don't have a specific way that I did it that was probably most optimal. I did die and fall a lot because this was the first time I did it. But if you have a better way of doing it and you want to find out a better way of doing it, then please explore that on your own. But personally, I do not have a certain way that I did it. You're going to get to this spot that seems like a dead end for your first grav lift override, and once you jump up through this spot, you're going to be able to fight some enemies real quick and then put in the grav lift code on the little pad. Once you teleport through the Rasputin looking teleporter, you'll be confronted by some more enemies, and then off to your right, you're going to start jumping even more. Once you get to this spot, this is going to be where your second grav lift override code is going to be. You got to fight some more enemies, use the pad, and then you'll use the teleporter again, and then the grav lift that you had to power up will be usable. Once you head up the grav lift, you are essentially in the final spot of the exotic mission. This is where you're going to fight the boss. The mechanics that you've learned over the entire mission essentially come to fruition here. So you're going to be using the Scion bubbles to make sure that you don't die of radiation poisoning whenever that happens. You're going to be using the Radioloria buff so you can have the Scions help you break the walls. And then you're going to be putting in codes and have them hack so you can essentially start the final encounter boss that will stop the Warsat from being launched. There's some pretty good indicators for what's happening during the encounter. Once you see the radiation breach happen, just head over to one of the psionic protectors. They'll give you a shield. Just make sure that you are clearing all ads at all times, because if you aren't clearing ads, like the wardens, they will put the scions in a prison and they won't be able to help you. If you are doing this on normal for the first time by default, the radiation poisoning most likely won't kill you. It's just going to get you really low health, and if you're using a build that gives you health or woven mail or whatever, you should be perfectly fine. This mission was basically a steamroll in the first way through. And pretty simply, once you kill the boss, there's going to be 3 phases. They're all going to be spread out by these radiation poisoning attacks, and just over time, you'll kill him pretty quickly. He doesn't have a lot of health. Once the actual mission is over, you go into the war stat, you hold your interact, and then the mission's done. You get some dialogue, and then you get the axe. It was pretty funny that me and Alex had a little bit of a last wish DPS moment on the white ball, because we thought it was something that we had to destroy whenever you just go up to it and interact with it. The rest of the gameplay is probably just going to be me and Alex sitting in the firing range testing out the axe. From what we tested, the axe by itself with no melee buff perks, or having any exotic or having any stat boosts like Banner of War or Worm God or anything like that, it's just kind of alright. It's okay. I mean, it's not good on bosses for sure. It's definitely pretty good on anything else, but if you're seeing this as a potential boss DPS machine, it's not really going to do that for you. There's plenty of other things that could do very much better, and be a lot easier to set up and not have a bunch of barrier to entry with needing ×4 Banner of War, Worm Gods, all this stuff, 200 weapons, and etc. I would rather just stick to my, Rocket Pulse, Rocket, and SMG combo for boss DPS for sure. Now here are my overall opinions on the exotic mission. I feel like most people that are coming out on Twitter and talking about the exotic mission, I basically share most of the opinions with them. This mission just did not feel like it was super special, or it was exotic, or anything like that. Personally, I think that there was so many other things that they could have done to make it better, along with the community sentiment with Siva and stuff like that. I just feel like, I just think that it was definitely pretty frustrating for them to continuously perpetuate the notion that Siva has to be dead and that we can't have it back, and just all of that, because Siva was probably one of the best parts of Destiny 1, Rise of Iron being the aesthetic that it was, and the Plague Lands and Reclaim just didn't do it for most people, and it definitely didn't do it for me. And the whole we're going back to the Plague Lands and the exotic mission and stuff like that, people were really hoping that this would be some sort of like revitalization of Siva and stuff like that, including myself, and it just didn't happen. The story beats were kind of cool, they were kind of alright, but the mission just basically confirmed that we're not going to see the conductor until, after the next expansion. So we're not going to have the big bad villain until, a whole other year, which some can think is a great thing, some can think is a bad thing. I didn't really like the conductor because I think her story is just flawed and kind of stupid, but I'm more excited for Renegades' big bad guy being the Sith Dredgen type of person. But other than that, I mean, the exotic is pretty okay. I could see it has some potential in lower end content, or maybe just for ad clear or champions, because there are some pretty good champion stunning stuff right now in the current season. We have Overload Sword, which does work on the axe, so you can use the heavy to stun overloads. The heavy also works on a lot of different stuff in terms of its AoE and the tick damage and stuff. So it does do some pretty good damage, just not to single targets. So I mean, you could clear rooms pretty quickly with it. It is very ammo efficient, so you won't run out of ammo really quickly with it, at least, which is nice. But for the most part, I think for me, I will just get all the stuff for it and then put it down, and then if they end up buffing it later on, I'll probably bring it out. for those who are watching and haven't been playing Destiny 2, is the mission worth getting back on the game and playing just for the mission alone? I don't think so, personally. If they're going to be keeping the mission around until like way later on and not removing it, then I think you can probably just wait it out, honestly. If you're going to come back for Festival of the Lost, then do it during that time. But if you don't really like Destiny in its current state right now and you think there's not really much to do and you want to dive into the exotic mission, go ahead. I think it's something to do for sure. But if you're really just not wanting to play and the exotic mission is the only possible thing that can bring you back, and you think it's going to be super, super duper awesome, like Whisper or Outbreak Perfected level of great, I am sorry to inform you, but that is just not the case. I am going to link a video down in the description by Scaro9 that's more in depth on how to get the intrinsic mods that come with all the perks for the axe. And then I will link a damage testing for the axe itself. I did some damage testing on it myself, and I just don't think I'm going to post it, honestly, because there was so many like small little foul issues that kept happening with the damage testing that could have thrown it off, and it just didn't feel very accurate. Maybe it's just because the axe isn't great in single target, but I just don't think I want to put it out because I'm not really confident in the data. Before I cap off this video, I just wanted to thank everyone who watched my prior video and all of the great comments I got under that, also on my TikTok, and just overall, it is now my most viewed video of all time versus some DayZ modded thing that I put out like years and years ago. I think it was like 2017. Also my most liked video as well, so I really appreciate everybody's support on that. I will let everybody know that I am going to be working on the D2 new player guide. I am actually writing the script basically right now. It is going to be a really long multi-part series for new players and returning players. Returning players are essentially going to have their section kind of at the end, but I'm going to be releasing them as two separate series because a lot of returning players know what new players don't know. So with new players, I'm going to go into a lot of like how the game works and what the classes do and like what the beginning story is and what to do to level up and how to get these certain exotics, just for like basic necessity. But for returning players, a lot of them know, what tractor cannon does. A lot of them know what the new light experience is with Shahan and all that. So I'm not going to go through all of that for returning players. I'm more or less going to harp on a lot of the things that in Edge of Fate you can do to kind of get yourself ahead and start in Renegades if you have not dipped into the expansion before. Whether you quit in Red War or you quit in Episode Heresy, there's always a time to jump back in, and there's definitely always things to do, whether people think that there's nothing to do or not. There is stuff that you can do to get ahead, and I will be making definitely some comprehensive lists on stuff that you can do to get ahead and prep for Renegades. Anyways, y'all, I'm going to end the video here. Look out for some new content that will be coming out towards the end of the week. I got some Black Ops 7 stuff I'm going to cover, and then I will be doing a Battlefield 6 review in about 2.5 weeks after the game does come out. It does come out this Friday, so I'm going to be playing that, doing some recording, doing some streaming. So if you guys want to tune in and watch that, I will be on Twitch. That is twitch.tv/taken_R6. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.